Hey guys, and welcome to Bunches of Lunches. In today's video, I'm sharing the 4 fun and creative lunches that I made for my kids' first week back to school. These lunches come together super fast, and they're inspired by all of my kids' favorite things. We've got a sparkly pop star lunch, a slurp-worthy noodle surprise, a breakfast twist, and even a build-your-own lunch that's super cheesy and fun. If you're looking for some school lunch inspiration, you've come to the right place. Now guys, I can't wait to show you all of the details, so make sure you're subscribed. Give this video a big thumbs up, and now let the lunches begin. Okay guys, kicking things off with my daughter Mackenzie's lunch. Her special lunch is all about Taylor Swift's brand new Life of a Showgirl album. And you guys, Mackenzie actually planned this lunch out herself. She's been so excited with all of the Taylor news lately, from the new album to the big engagement. But you guys, let me know in the comments if you are a Swiftie too, because I have plenty more Taylor-inspired lunches linked down below that I think you're going to love. And of course, for this lunch, we're going to be adding plenty of orange foods, with some really fun Easter eggs in true Taylor fashion. For the main course, Mackenzie chose a peanut butter and honey sandwich, but this time, instead of using the regular bread I normally use, I'm switching things up and using sourdough bread instead. Now this is not the fancy, funfetti sourdough that I wish I had. To make this sandwich fit for a teen appetite, I am going to be building it into a triple decker. And then for the top slice, Mackenzie asked if I could make a peekaboo window inspired by Taylor's new album cover, so I'm gonna try my best. Now, of course, I could leave this just as is and it would be so cute, but I want to make this sandwich over the top. So I'm going to fill in the little peekaboo windows with some sprinkles. You guys, this sandwich is so fun. It's being a little bit loud, but we're not going to calm down. Now moving on to the sweet treat. I don't normally share the sweet treat this early in the lunch, but I ended up making this last night since it's one of those recipes that tastes even better after chilling. This is called orange creamsicle fluff. Now, technically, some people do call this a Jell-O salad, and sometimes it can have a bad reputation. Some people might think they don't like a Jell-O salad, but I think they haven't really given it a chance, and I think the same thing can be said to people who don't think they like Taylor songs. But of course, in our house, we love both Taylor and Jell-O salads. So even though this one does start with cottage cheese. Now don't let that scare you. The cottage cheese in here ends up making this kind of taste very cheesecake-like. And you guys, if you do not like the texture, you could definitely blend it first. I'm adding about 2 cups in here. Then to this, I added 1 small box of orange Jell-O. Next, I added 1 can of mandarin oranges that were drained, followed by 1 can of crushed pineapple that was drained. Now you guys, at this point, some people might add marshmallows, nuts, or even carrots to their Jell-O salad, but I actually don't like to add any of those. Instead, I just mix this all together really, really well, and then I fold in 1 tub of Cool Whip. Now, in my experience, recipes like this are often shared at family gatherings or church potlucks, so you'll often see it with extra mandarin oranges on the top as a garnish. Now you guys, this one has been chilling overnight and it's ready to go. It's light, it's whippy, definitely refreshing, and not overly sweet. It's the perfect orange treat for this lunchbox. Next, for even more fruit, I'm going to add a mini orange, followed by some cantaloupe that I cut into stars. Then for the veggie, I'm adding some carrot chips. But before I add these in here, I'm going to add some ranch hidden at the bottom. That way, I won't have to add an extra container on the side. Then for some extra snacks, I'm gonna add some cheese cubes. Of course, these ones are orange. Then I'm also going to add in a cinnamon oat bar and a tiny bag of cheesy sun chips. Then last but not least, to finish off this lunch, I've got 3 different orange drinks for Mackenzie to pick from. And there you have it, guys. That's Mackenzie's Sparkly Swifty lunch. It's got triple the layers, triple the fun, and just the right amount of Easter eggs. Okay friends, next up I'm making my son Jackson's lunch, and for this one, we're going all in on the ramen theme. Now if you missed our back to school haul video, I'll go ahead and link that down below, but this year Jackson picked out a lot of ramen themed items, including this awesome backpack, it is subarashi, and he also picked out this really kawaii cute lunch bag. This looks just like a cup of noodles. Now you guys, even though that lunch bag was really cute, it ended up being a little bit on the small side. I couldn't fit everything I wanted to fit in here. So I ended up sending it back and I exchanged it for this one instead. This bag looks just like a pack of top ramen, and it even has the info on the back and everything. Oh yes, and there's also a little section on here that includes the story of how instant ramen was invented, which, by the way, we actually got to learn when we visited the Cup Noodle Museum. It was actually really interesting. We loved it. Now, other than ramen, you guys have to stay tuned for the sweet treat in this lunch. It is kind of crazy, but I love it. So now, when it comes to packing instant ramen in a lunchbox, you could just prepare it as normal, then add it to your thermos. But if you do it this way, most likely by lunchtime, your noodles will have absorbed too much of the broth, making your noodles soggy. Now, if you like soggy ramen, then this is the way to go. But I'm going to show you a different way that you can try. But first, I'm going to need to pick which ramen to make. As you can see, we have quite the collection. Now, since this lunch is going to be for Jackson, I decided to go with the tonkotsu style ramen, which I know he loves. But this one is actually made with a chicken broth instead of pork. And this one has a much creamier, richer broth than your typical instant ramen would have. And I usually just find this at Target or Walmart. It's pretty easy to find in the US. So to my pot, I'm going to add 2 cups of water, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in the soup base right away. Normally you would add this in last, but I'm just going to add it in here with some extra green onions to give it a fresher, brighter flavor. I'm going to whisk this all together, and when it comes to a boil, it's time to add the ramen. Now normally you would cook this for 3 minutes, but in this version, I'm only going to cook the noodles for 1 minute. Then I'm going to take it out of the broth and let it cool down separately. Only cooking the ramen part of the way is how we're going to keep them from getting too soggy by lunchtime. Then you guys, for the broth itself, I'm going to let that come to a boil again, then I can quickly add it into the thermos. Getting the broth nice and hot before I add it in is really going to help it stay hotter for longer in the thermos. And yes, you do want to add your lid on tightly right away. You gotta trap in all the heat. Then, with that par cooked ramen that's cooled down, I'm going to add it separately right here in the lunchbox. So at lunchtime, Jackson will be able to add it back into the hot broth. Then after just a few minutes, they should be a really nice texture and not too soggy. Now, of course, we love toppings for our ramen around here. So in here, I'm also going to add in some edamame, some corn, and some more green onions. Now, another tasty addition to ramen is definitely a hard-boiled egg. So I'll go ahead and add some in here too. So now moving on to the fruit, I'm gonna go with some kiwi. Not only does it look cool, but Jackson loves it, so it's definitely a win-win. And then for a snack on the side, I'm throwing in some very special chips that any ramen fan would love. And then you guys, for that sweet treat I was telling you about, I made some fruit snack sushi. Well, technically this is fruit roll-up sushi, but that doesn't sound as nice. To make these, I used some red and some green fruit roll-ups. I unrolled them, but I left them on the wrapper. Then I made a single serving of Rice Krispie treats. All you have to do is microwave 1/3 cup of marshmallows with 1/2 tablespoon of butter. After about 30 seconds in the microwave, that'll be nice and melted, and then you can add 1/2 cup of Rice Krispie cereal. Once that's all mixed together, I just added 1/2 of the mixture to each fruit roll-up and spread it out with wet fingers. That way it didn't stick to me as bad. Then for the filling of these sushi rolls, I just used some Twizzlers. Now I rolled these up as tightly as I could, and then I sliced them up. And just like that, we have cute, colorful, and fun fruit snack sushi. And fun fact, you guys, I actually learned how to make these years ago at a class in Epcot. And now finally, for a very special limited time drink, I'm throwing in a melon flavored ramen. These are a classic retro drink from Japan, and they are so fun. But you guys, these actually come in a glass bottle, so you may not be able to bring these to your school. These sodas are really fun, but they can be a little tricky to open. Oh no! It usually doesn't do that. Okay guys, now we're on to Lily's lunch. She is definitely my Stitch super fan, especially when it came to her school supplies this year. So to go along with that, I'm going to make her a lunch that is Stitch inspired and breakfast themed. And since Lily has been all about blueberries lately, you'll notice I'm gonna put as many blueberries in this lunch as I can. And speaking of blueberries, one of Lily's favorite after school snacks is actually just some frozen blueberries with a splash of milk followed by a drizzle of either honey or maple syrup. Then she just mixes it all together. The frozen blueberries kind of turn the whole thing slushy, but it's also creamy because of the milk. It's not overly sweet, but it's definitely refreshing. She loves it. You guys, let me know in the comments down below if you have a favorite snack that sounds weird, but it's actually delicious. So now for Lily's main course, I'm gonna make her some fruit-filled waffle tacos. To make these, I'm starting with some store-bought blueberry waffles. These were frozen, but they've already thawed out. And to turn these into taco-like shells, I'm just gonna flip a muffin tin upside down. Then I'm gonna fit the waffles between the cups like this. Now all I have to do is bake them at 350 for about 5 minutes, and then once they've cooled down, they're gonna be nice and crispy, and they're gonna keep their taco shape, which is great because the next thing I'm gonna do is fill them with plenty of blueberry cream cheese. Now if you're not a fan of cream cheese, you could also use peanut butter or even Nutella. That would be so good in this dish. And now to finish off our waffle tacos, I'll add some sliced strawberries and of course, more blueberries. You guys, these turned out so delicious looking. I know Lily is going to love them. Next, keeping with our Stitch/breakfast theme, I'm gonna start by adding some more blueberries to a little silicone container, and then I'm gonna top the blueberries with a serving of our favorite coconut chia pudding. Now you guys, we fell in love with chia pudding over our summer break, and we were making it all the time. But you guys, this recipe is extra delicious because of the coconut flavor. It's definitely creamy, sweet, and it tastes like a dessert, even though it's kind of good for you. To make this, all I do is take a 1/4 cup of chia seeds. Then to this, I add 1 can of coconut milk. This is unsweetened, but any type will do. Next, I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of almond milk, followed by 2 to 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, depending on how sweet you like it. Then I also like to add a splash of vanilla and just a pinch of salt. Now I'm gonna whisk this all together and let it set out for about 10 minutes. Then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna stir it again. That's gonna make sure that none of the chia seeds stay in clumps. I like this pudding to be nice and smooth. Now I usually let this chill in the fridge for a couple of hours or overnight. And you guys, this recipe makes enough for the entire family. Next up, I'm going to add some Babybel cheese, and these ones are extra cute because they have Stitch on the wrapper. But I definitely think we could use some pineapple too. So I'll go ahead and add some right here. Next, I'm gonna add some cucumber, some deli ham for extra protein, and then for a fun snack on the side, I found these really cute LUNCHBOX ready graham crackers. And you guys, this box actually comes with both hero and villain cookies, which I think are so fun. And now to finish off Lily's lunch, I'm gonna pack her a chocolate milk topped with the cutest Stitch topper. And there you have it, guys. Blueberries galore, tropical vibes, and a lunch I know my Stitch fan is going to love. Okay guys, now it's time for Griffin's lunch, and this one is by far the easiest of the bunch. Now of course, Griffin loves all things Super Mario, and he loves pizza just as much, as I'm sure lots of kids do. But speaking of pizza, when we were shopping at Aldi, Griffin spotted one of those DIY pizza Lunchable kits, and I told him we have pizza Lunchables at home. I can definitely make that, but maybe even better. So for today, I'm gonna pack some mini pizza kits. Now for the crust itself, I'm gonna be using these non-bites. These are nice and soft, and they perfectly fit into lunchboxes. And then for the pizza sauce itself, I just want to make sure to put this into a leak-proof container. Next, I'm going to add extra shredded mozzarella and plenty of mini pepperoni. All of my kids, but especially Griffin, love to have lunches where they can customize it and build it themselves. So it's kind of like a lunch, but also an activity. Next, for Griffin's fruit, I'm gonna give him the rest of our pineapple. And then for his veggie, he's also getting some carrots with some hidden ranch. For a snack on the side, I recently tried out a new recipe for mini monster muffins. Basically, they're supposed to taste just like banana bread muffins, but they're green because you add spinach in them. They're supposed to be a little bit healthier with no added sugar, but honestly, you guys, this recipe turned out just okay. I'm not sure I would make these again. I'm gonna go ahead and pack them anyway because I did make a bunch of them. But just in case Griffin's not a fan, I am gonna throw in something I know he's gonna love. Some Super Mario fruit snacks. And then for Griffin's drink, he picked out this moon-themed Capri Sun. Now, I'm not exactly sure what flavor it's supposed to be, but apparently the package is supposed to glow, so that makes it cool. Okay friends, thank you so much for joining me for this extra special back to school edition of Bunches of Lunches. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have a lot more fun and creative lunches coming your way. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.